And we're live. Exciting times, big week.
It's a big day today. I don't remember the last time Apple had a pre-order day and a release day on the same day.
Yeah, for like two.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that were two different like stages of product.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll talk about all that during the show. So, let's get rolling. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, April 30th, 2021. Today, we're talking about Apple's latest software updates, a couple of new rumors, and of course, the arrival of AirTags, because this is the iMore show. Joining me, as always, is iMore contributor Karen Freeman. Hey, Karen.
Hello.
And joining us as our special guest today is iMore writer Luke Filipovich. Hey, Luke.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for being here. And I am, of course, iMore editor-in-chief Joe Keller. Packed week, big week, lots of stuff. No new announcements, of course. Not quite the same sort of excitement, but we do have the excitement of actually having new Apple products in our hands. And for those who are just listening, I'm holding up an AirTag to my camera because I have 5 of them because Apple is generous. But yeah, it's AirTag day. It's AirTag delivery day for many of us. All right. Let's start off. Actually, let's start off talking about AirTags because they are the new thing that is out today. Who did everybody here get AirTags? Order at least one AirTag?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that a pack of 4 or 1?
I got the old 4-pack.
Yeah.
I really ordered. Oh, go ahead, Luke.
I was gonna say I only ordered 2. I was like really debating to get the 4-pack, and I was like, I have three for sure that I would probably use. Like 2 100% that I need. 1 for my keys, 1 for my wallet. 100% I need those. And then I was like, I guess like I'd throw one in my camera bag, but I don't go all that many places with my camera bag. I usually actually just carry my camera around separately. So my camera bag kind of usually sits at home. And then I didn't know what I was going to do with the 4th one. So I just decided to get 2 for now. And if I need to, I can get more.
Yeah, I figured I would use at least 3. And I was like, well, if I'm going to get 3, the 4th one is like $9. So
It's true.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've been testing these for about a week. My review went up this morning. And I mean, they're very interesting. Like, it's a weird product because it's the kind of product you don't want to use in a certain way. You know, you want to have it. You want to have it attached to stuff. You don't want to use it. You don't ever want to need it.
Right. It's like insurance.
Yeah. And one of the things that I realized as I was testing it and actually thinking about them all last week after Apple announced them is these really aren't anti-theft devices. Mm-mm. They are loss prevention, loss recovery devices. So I got as a part of the package, I got Apple's leather loop AirTag.
That looks really sharp.
It does, especially against the dark bag. And so yeah, I want something like that on a piece of luggage, like that bag, to really just stand out. It's like, hey, look at me, because that really is how they're designed. I described it in my review as unobtrusive but not invisible, which is oh no,
somebody's mic is having an issue.
Yeah. Probably me. There we go. So my audio is freaking out. Still freaking out.
You sound fine to me.
Huh. One moment, please.
Okay. Well, while he's muted, I'm just going to talk about what I'm going to do with mine. I'm definitely going to put one on my keys. I'm waiting for some third-party keychains to arrive, so that's a must. I definitely want one to put on luggage because when I actually am going to be traveling later this month, picking up a kid from college, so I'm definitely going to put it on a suitcase. I'm thinking about my dog. I'm not sure. I know Apple said not to do that, but I wasn't sure I really understood why. And I definitely am going to put one in my car because I don't know about you, but sometimes I forget where in the parking lot I park my car. So not assuming my car's going to get stolen, but just so I can find it, remember where I parked, especially if I'm in a strange place.
Yeah. That's interesting. About the pet thing, because I think a lot of people would probably think putting these on dog collars or cat collars or rabbit collars, if that's your fancy, I think makes a lot of sense to a lot of people. And, Apple saying kind of don't do it. And really, I kind of agree with Karen. I don't really understand why they're saying that other than for legal reasons. They don't want Sally Sue to lose her pet dash hound and then sue Apple over it because AirTags didn't work to find, Molly the dash hound.
Is that the Canadian way of saying dachshund?
Yeah, actually, I think it is.
That's so funny. Yeah. But yeah, I would imagine it's Apple protecting themselves from potential lawsuits.
So I want to say it's pro Hertz music in the
they should last. The battery should last a year, and it's just like your basic watch battery, so you can easily replace it when it runs out.
Yeah. What is
and
this?
They're super cheap. They're super cheap.
Yeah,
you can buy
like $3.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
2032 cell is what that battery type is, and if you have battery anxiety about AirTags, first of all, don't. But second, it's easy to check. You just go into the Find My app, go to items, and just tap on a particular AirTag, and it will show you the battery life.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's the whole software situation with AirTags is interesting. So in testing these out, I really dug into the Find My app. I dug into, and I did research into competitors, because one of the big things you want to know is how do the competitors stack up. And it's interesting. So one of the features that's notably absent that, say, Tile or Chipolo have in their trackers is those leave behind notifications.
Mm-hmm.
These are notifications that Apple that I could see Apple adding at some point, but they have to update the Find My app. So it'll be a whole system update.
Yeah. The other feature that's missing is Chipolo and Tile have a button you can press to find your phone.
Yes.
Tile doesn't have that. Now, I don't need that feature because I have an Apple Watch, but for somebody without an Apple Watch, that would be a bummer of a feature to be missing off of the AirTags.
Just turn the battery cover into that button. Press it down even further.
Yeah, it certainly is something Apple could do. Just Apple chose not to.
I think they really, if you look at it, it's a very simple, very, very minimal design. And I think they erred on the side of very, as few moving parts as they could. Mm-hmm. And like the only moving part is that battery cover.
Right.
At least it's easy to twist off.
Right.
To replace that battery.
So one thing that I don't know if you saw MKBHD's recent video about AirTags. One thing that he pointed out, which I hadn't thought of. I knew that the Find My network is obviously much bigger than Tile's or Chipolo's. That I knew, and I mentioned in a couple of my articles. But what he pointed out was that as the AirTags gain popularity, people are going to stop buying Tiles and Chipolo's. So those networks are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller over time. So
yeah.
I'm giving away my Tile.
I talked a lot about the network effect in my review, and I didn't touch on that particular aspect of it. That's actually really fascinating.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it until he mentioned that. I knew it was obviously much, much smaller than Apple's, like by an order of magnitude smaller.
Although, with that being said, like there is that Chipolo tracker that is going to be compatible in Find My.
So,
but that's going to use it's going to use the Find My network, not the Chipolo network. That was how it was.
No, it doesn't use both. Interesting. I didn't know that. I figured
right. Find My exclusive. This is something I
okay. So Chipolo is actually cannibalizing their own business. They're actually hurting their own business and their own network by getting on the Find My.
what
network with
I
Apple.
think is really interesting. So I talk a bit about this, but what I think is really interesting about the Chipolo, this is the Chipolo One spot. The orders go up next month, and the first batch go out, I think, in June. And so, yeah, it is in all, for all intents and purposes, it is literally a third-party AirTag. It uses the Find My network. It takes advantage of all that. It does not have the leave behind alerts that the current Chipolo trackers do.
Interesting. Does it have the button?
Does it have the button? Yeah, does it have the button to
find your phone?
I don't know that it does have the button. What it does have, though, built in, is a keyhole.
The keyhole,
the key ring hole, and that ended up becoming a bigger deal to me in the review than I even expected, because, I mean, I expect Chipolo One Spot to be priced along the same lines of AirTag, about $30, maybe even 25. Maybe it's priced along the lines of the current tracker. So you're looking for something, you're getting something that's as expensive or less, is my bet, but it has that built-in feature. And a lot of people, like, if you're just going to get one of these and it's just going to be to track your keys, you might want to wait until June, because it's going to have the same network coverage of the Find My network, but you're not going to need an additional accessory. I've been thinking a lot about the accessory situation as well over the past couple of weeks, and I've come to some conclusions.
So what are your conclusions?
So my conclusions are, there are a lot of more practical accessories that you can get for AirTags that cost, a lot less than Apple's own. But one of the things Apple seems to have tried to do with AirTags and the accessories is, in a sense, make them fashion a little bit, and make little key rings and charms and whatnot. And if you not all of our buying decisions have to be practical. Like, it is more expensive than the tracker itself, but I like Apple's little leather key ring. I liked it enough that I ordered one for myself that's coming next week in Baltic Blue. It's going to replace the Apple provided leather loop that's currently on that bag that I showed you. And that's what's going to go on there. It's not going to go on my keys, because I discovered that it doesn't really work. The ring that comes on that keychain doesn't really work with my car keys. Like the attach point on the car keys is a little too narrow, and it is a flat circle on the on the AirTag.
Those are the most secure, though. Like, I noticed a lot of the third-party ones have carabiner style clips.
Yeah, and
carabiner clips, they open up wide, but I wouldn't want that as my keychain, because I'm not sure that those stay closed as securely as the flat ring that you break your fingernails trying to get things on and off of.
I will say it was easy to get my other keys on and off of the Apple ring, just because I don't know, something about the flat nature of the actual structure of the ring itself really helped get the fingernails in there, instead of just being like a really tightly packed circle. Like, oh, you want to actually use this thing? Screw that. Like the usual kind I encounter.
Yeah, I don't actually mind having to use a third-party accessory, or having to use an accessory. Yeah, the Apple ones are not cheap, but they are really nice looking. And there are cheaper ones. Like, obviously the Apple is selling the Belkin one, which is half the price. It's like $13. And those look really nice and solid and everything you would want. And obviously on Amazon, I've been writing and rewriting and updating this article. There are tons and tons on Amazon, and with a whole range of prices down to I don't know, $5-6 a piece.
Isn't there one accessory that comes in a 4-pack for $8?
Yeah. It has gone down in price. It was originally, like $11 or something for 3, and it's down to something like $8, something ridiculous, like $8. I don't know if that price will stick, but yeah. So they turn out to be $2 a piece. I mean, big deal.
And these things are popular. People are already stocking up on these accessories. I think Apple's
because you need the accessory right away.
Yeah, I think Apple's got a bit of a hit on its hand when it comes to AirTags, if people are buying as many accessories as we think they are.
Yeah.
And it's funny about how I agree with Karen. I don't mind having to use accessories, and there are going to be lots of third-party options. You don't have to go with the Apple's, nice but expensive options. But like, it was funny, like even up until the launch and like of AirTags, and even though we like pretty much had everything leaked about them, and even the design was leaked, my brain kind of completely like went over the fact they don't have a keyring hole. Like I just didn't even think about it. And then when they were launched, I was like, oh yeah, they don't have a keyring hole. And I mean, I expected, because this is what Apple does, I expected there to be like a plethora, or at least some, of Apple accessories anyways, because Apple likes to accessorize their stuff and make more money and sell cool things. But I didn't ever occur to me, even though I like knew, but it like my brain was just so much like, of course it's going to be able to be attached by itself, right? So it's a very Apple move for sure, and I can understand potentially being a little miffed about it. But there's lots of third-party options. Go look for the stuff that isn't Apple. If you're concerned about the price, you'll find lots of stuff out there that'll work for you.
The other thing the other reason I don't mind having to use a third-party accessory is it gives you more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Chipolos and the tiles with the holes. You're pretty much stuck with the key ring idea or carabiner clip. But the AirTag being so tiny, it could be slipped into there's like these little adhesive backed, I don't know how to describe it, just adhesive back things. You stick the AirTag inside, and then you peel off the back and stick it onto the back of your non-Apple tablet or computer, whatever it is. And the Moment one even sticks to fabric, which is pretty amazing. So you can like securely stick it inside of a jacket pocket or a bag or whatever. So it just gives more options.
Yeah. There we go. Or I think my favorite, just personal favorite set of accessories, because they're funny to me, are the Hermes ones that are $300 that come with custom Hermes etched AirTags.
Yeah.
You get a free AirTag when you buy an Hermes like luggage tag.
Oh yeah, free. the like $300 Hermes tag. You're getting.
And is it engraved with the Hermes logo?
Yeah, it has Hermes on it.
Okay, so that's interesting. I saw one of our readers on Twitter pointed out that it was a lost opportunity for Apple to pair with numerous companies. Like think about like if your car company, for example, put out an AirTag holder, and if you ordered that, then it would come with an AirTag etched with that particular company's logo on it.
Yeah, I think we're going to get in the next year or so. We'll probably see a lot of different companies come out, I would imagine, with like clothing items or shoes that are sort of that are AirTag, that have little AirTag holders in them.
Okay, I think both of you are way too young to remember when penny loafers were in style. But back in the day, we used to wear loafers literally that had little tiny slots for pennies, and you would put a penny in your penny loafer. So I could just see like having some kind of shoe where you would slip an AirTag into it.
I do have to ask, Karen, to what end would you put a penny in a loafer?
Oh, purely for fashion. I never put the penny in. I never took it out. It just became part of the shoe.
Money, but make it fashion.
Yeah. And always a penny. I could have put the dime in there, but no, always a penny, because they were penny loafers.
Yeah, that's what they're for. They're not dime loafers.
Yeah, they're not dime loafers.
Right.
Yeah, I am. I'm looking at this Hermes close up here, and it just says Hermes Apple AirTag. It is custom etched. That is.
But can't you see some hot athlete releasing a shoe that has a slot for an AirTag?
Mm-hmm. A custom branded AirTag.
A custom. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah, I expect. We had. I think it was Van Moof was a company that makes e-bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I'm being honest, I'm not completely sure on what an e-bike is. But
I think it's the bike that has a motor in it, so you don't have to do so much pedaling.
Like a wrinkle.
But it doesn't go super fast though. Not like as fast as a moped. I don't know. I'm not an e-bike expert.
Well,
Joe, the other Joe, is writing a review of the Van Moof one.
Of one of the Van Moof e-bikes. But yeah, this is a bike that has Find My compatibility. You had Chipola that released their little tracker. Then you got bikes that have it.
I mean, bike theft is huge, right? Like bike theft is huge. I feel like everywhere. Like I know my city specifically is really, really bad, but I'm sure other cities are too.
Oh yeah.
It's just like bike theft is huge, right? They tend to be somewhat easy to steal if you don't, take care of it, depending on where you are. So it's kind of a huge opportunity in a lot of ways.
And it's funny that you bring that up, Luke, because in something like a bike, the Find My compatibility actually is a theft prevention tool.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if
you just had an AirTag on it, they could just take the AirTag off.
Yeah, or ditch it. I mean, I think people will, I think thieves will find ways to. They'll know about it once Apple enters a product arena. It becomes much more a part of the public consciousness, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people will start looking for AirTags, but also other kinds of trackers, so they'll ditch them. But if you build in the functionality to the item that could be stolen, it's a lot harder to do that. It does, like I said, it becomes a theft prevention tactic. So
yeah, as long as the battery's not accessible, because otherwise they could just remove the battery. But maybe because it's an e-bike, maybe the tracking part of it is when you juice up the bike, you're also juicing up the tracker that's built
into the system.
Yeah,
I would assume.
All right. So we have some other news to talk about this week. Oh, I found myself able to talk about AirTags for almost 4,000 words. So
I know. I couldn't believe you were able to write so much about a little tiny.
Yeah, neither could I. I had some very specific quibbles, but I was also really impressed with the software, which it's the Find My app. I wasn't expecting to be impressed with the software of this, but I was. But there was some news that we needed to talk about this week, and the big news this week: Apple released a bunch of software updates, just a whole lot of them. The big one, I think, obviously, is iOS 14.5, but we also had watchOS 7.4, Mac OS 11.3, and tvOS 14.5. That's less of a major update, obviously, because it's tvOS, but it did bring some useful features like the color calibration tool. But yeah, so iOS 14.5, Mask Unlock Face ID
is amazing.
It's now officially a thing.
It works beautifully.
Yeah. Karen, had you used the betas at all, or is this your first time using this?
No. I downloaded the updates immediately and went out and tried it, and it couldn't be smoother. It works better than using the Apple Watch to unlock my MacBook.
Yeah.
It just works.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a welcome. It's definitely welcome, especially in today's, how wearing masks is just very common outside when you're when you're out and about doing errands wherever you are. It was like when Apple jumped back months ago, like even last year when they jumped on making it easier to like insert your passcode before for Face ID. Like even that I felt was a huge help than it was like right at the beginning when I started wearing masks outside and I was like struggling with my Face ID. But this is beyond any, like Karen says, it's just perfect. It's like exactly what you want. It's exactly what you need.
Yeah. And if people are worried about security, because pretty much anybody with a face mask can now open your phone, you get an immediate tap on your watch saying that your phone has just been opened by your watch and would you like to relock it? And so if you could tap that immediately and relock your phone before the person will be able to do anything. So I feel very secure using it.
And I think one of the things that they've done, one of the changes that they've made over the course of the beta is when you hit that lock button on your watch, I think it shuts down the ability to unlock while wearing a mask for a few minutes.
I haven't tested that.
So yeah, like I don't think
that would make sense. So
I don't think you
can keep just doing it.
Yeah. Okay, you hit the lock button
for sure.
It'd be the weirdest dance with a criminal ever. Just it's like a weird duel.
Yeah, I would assume there's some kind of delayed lock.
But yeah, also in this update, we've got, of course, AirTag support, and then some big updates for Siri. We have 2 new voices in the sort of American category. They're also not calling them male and female anymore. We've got American 1 through 4 now, and same with the voices in other countries. And also, there's not a default voice for Siri anymore when you're starting your phone up, when you're just first booting it. You get to pick, which is, we've discussed this a few weeks ago when this first came out. That is a good change. Fewer gendered voice assistants. 2K21.
Yeah.
But I think one of the sort of one of the more hotly debated features, one of them and anticipated features by at least people like me, is the app tracking transparency feature is finally here. You can finally say, no, Facebook, you can't track. Go to hell. Or that's just me. That's what I mentally replace the modal dialogue writing with in my brain. It's like, no, Facebook, not today. So yeah, app tracking transparency went live this week, and developers need to start complying with it. And I am a happy boy.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any. Aren't we supposed to get a pop-up though, asking?
It really depends. So since I've been using the beta, I went in. The first thing I did is I went into settings, went into privacy, and I hit tracking. And I don't even let apps request to track me. It's like,
right.
Not on your life.
The answer is no.
Right.
Not on your life. So I don't get any pop-ups because my phone already knows, don't even bother. He's not gonna let you do it. Why would you even ask?
Okay. Yeah, I have mine toggled off as well. That's why I haven't got any pop-ups.
Yeah. Luke, have you updated yet to iOS 14.5? And have you seen?
Yes, iOS 14.5. Yes, 7.4 on my watchOS is being a little bit annoying and not letting me update. So I got to go through some troubleshooting with that. But I think I did the same thing. I think I turned off tracking too. Like, I don't think so. I haven't really seen too many pop-ups really coming my way either.
We already know what's up. It's like, no, you don't even get a shot. Yeah, it's an interesting update. I really like I really like going back to Siri for a moment. I like that you can now set a default. Music provider, but only with Siri. You can't do it in settings. You just have to let Siri learn, and it will learn. Say play such and such an artist, and the first time you do that, I think on iOS 14.5, it'll say, hey, do you want it from one of these services? And you hit Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube Music or Dark Noise, which is a white noise app. It lets you set a white noise app as default. It's an odd one.
Interesting one.
Also, yeah, there are also a lot of there are a bunch of new emoji and some incident reporting in Apple Maps for directions, so you can report an accident, hazard in the road, or a speed trap, speed check, or as we know them in the US at least, speed traps. Yeah, it's a solid update. Then on the watchOS side, it is the other half of Mask Unlock. You need both iOS 14.5 and watchOS 7.4. There was a couple of other things. In the last major update of iOS before this, iOS 14.4, you gained the ability to name Bluetooth devices on the iPhone. Like in the Bluetooth menu, you could say, this is headphones. This device is, I don't know, and you can now do that same thing on the watch. I believe also, the ECG app is now available on compatible watches in Australia and Vietnam. Same for regular heart rhythm notifications. Oh, and you can now stream audio. You can, on both iPhone and Apple Watch, you can stream audio and video from Apple Fitness Plus to any compatible AirPlay or to like any AirPlay 2 screen out there. Which, yeah, a solid round of updates all around on the tvOS side. Basically, all of the features that were showed off on the new Apple TV are available for all the Apple TVs now, except high frame rate HDR.
Yeah, and I mean the color, what do they call it? Color balancing, color correction,
The color calibration, yeah,
calibration. That's the word I'm looking for. That one you can do on either the new 4K or the old 4K, but that isn't compatible with the Apple TV HD.
Is it not? I have heard from people that say that they have done this on an Apple TV HD.
Well, okay, now I'm gonna have to try. Now I'm gonna have to try on mine. I always thought it wasn't, so I'll have to try on mine. But it's a neat feature. Like a lot of people don't necessarily pay attention to that stuff, and that's fine. Like a lot of displays and things now are pretty like kind of calibrate themselves in a lot of ways. But for people who love that fine tuning and kind of making sure, some people get really into their media setups, which is really cool. And they really get into the lighting and the set their settings and kind of try and make it the ideal that they perfectly can. And this will help with that. This will help with how your Apple TV is performing in the room that you actually have it in, hooked up to the TV that you have it, or the screen or the monitor that you have it hooked up to. So it's definitely a cool move, and it makes it I haven't tried it personally myself, but it makes it super easy to do this kind of calibration, which, instead of going into settings and fiddling around with all these different knobs and nubbins and certain things.
Nubbins. One note on the color calibration that I will make is if you have your Apple TV set to one kind of, I think it's color output, like Dolby Vision or HDR, you won't get the opportunity to. I mean, you'll have the little button for the color calibration test, but when you click on it, it'll say your TV is calibrated already because you're in like Dolby Vision HDR.
Right.
This works best, I think, for people who have match content as their default video output, because I have strict Dolby Vision set on this Apple TV that is over in this direction, because match content was producing very strange results when I first got it, and I just never changed it back.
Interesting.
Yeah. Before we continue, Karen, why don't you tell us a little bit about IPVanish?
Yes, we are welcoming as a sponsor to the show IPVanish. So what is IPVanish? IPVanish is a virtual private network, a VPN for short. A VPN is a super important tool that helps you safely browse the internet. You can use VPN on your computers, tablets, phones, even things like your Fire Stick when you're streaming media. When you use a VPN, all your data is encrypted. What you're reading, what you're searching, what you're watching, whatever it is you're doing. That's important because what you're doing on the internet is no one else's business but yours. IPVanish helps you remain anonymous and secure on the internet. For listeners of the show, IPVanish is offering an incredible 65% off, just $3.49 for the first month or $31.49 for the year. Here's everything you get with IPVanish. Anonymous IP addresses. This means your personal IP address can't be tracked by anyone on the web. Circumvent any online censorship. IPVanish has more than 1,500 servers in 70 plus locations. Get protection when using public Wi-Fi. Remember, with IPVanish, all your data is encrypted, so no one can snoop on what you're doing. 24/7 support. Email them, chat with them, even call them. They're there to help. So go to ipvanish.com/iMore, claim your 65% savings. They have plans starting at just $349 or $31.49 a year. This is the time to sign up. With our discount and their current promotional offerings, you can get a VPN for 65% off their usual offering. IPVanish is the best of the best, even rated 4.7 out of 5 on Trustpilot, and that's with more than 6,000 reviews. Show these guys some love. They're repeat sponsors. Remember, it's ipvanish.com/iMore to get the deal and start protecting yourself online.
Thank you, Karen. So, the other big piece of news this week, and it's weird because it's such a packed week that I almost forgot that it happened. Apple just made all of the money. They made
Oh yeah.
they made every single dollar in America. It's okay. So this is what's really kind of astounding about this is the March quarter. The immediate post Christmas, post holiday shopping quarter.
Mhm.
And Apple made $89.6 billion in revenue. It is that for Apple, that translates to $23.6 billion of profit. And it compares to last year, the same quarter, they made $58.3 billion in revenue and $11.25 billion in profit. And I don't know what to say. I really, there's just, it's so much money. It's so much money.
Honestly, I think a lot of people are indulging in retail therapy.
You think so? You think that's what this is? I mean,
I think that's part of it. I think, we've been locked down for so long that, and people are just like desperate to do something. I mean, what's one thing you can do is sit home on your computer and shop.
round of stimulus checks went out this quarter. A lot of people got that $1,400. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just so much money for this quarter in particular. And they had their analyst call on Wednesday. It was long. It was packed. They're very happy. They said some interesting things, like they're happy with where Apple TV Plus is, which of course they're going to say that. They're not going to say, "Oh, Apple TV sucks." No, they're not going to say that. But they say they're happy with that mix.
That's the other thing, is that the services are, I'm not going to say pure profit. Obviously, it costs the money to run the services, but compared to hardware, they're high profit. And it's another thing people can do when they're home. They can watch TV, they can listen to music, they can do fitness videos at home.
And digging into the numbers, every product segment that Apple had grew. Services, iPhone was just so explosive growth, but Mac grew, iPad grew, wearables, all of it, they all grew. In frickin' March, maybe maybe it was that that wouldn't even be the right quarter. That'll be next quarter. We're going to see all of those purple iPhone profits, which, by the way, here's the purple iPhone. I've become a mini convert, and yeah, it's a whole thing, but we'll see all of those purple iPhone profits next quarter. Yeah, it's just an truly astounding amount of money. That it really is hard to fathom. They $89.6 billion in the March quarter. I think the number that they kept using for a lot of this is 54% over last year, up 54%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, if they keep going at this rate, they're going to be in the trillion. They're going to pass the trillion mark soon.
Apple may, they'll be the first. It's been a thought for a while that the first $1 trillion will come from like mining space or whatever, but no, it's going to be Apple just mining all of us, selling products. Stephen, in the chat, I want to punish you for that pun, but I'm not going to because I'm benevolent.
Oh,
wearables.
He said next quarter they can report on wearables, WHERE, as in where is my AirTag? Cute.
Exactly. Where?
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I actually do wonder. I wonder if they get any licensing money on the Find My stuff for third parties. But yeah, that's just an absolutely incredible amount of money. That it's very hard to intellectually conceive.
Yeah. And I think the AirTags are going to sell like hotcakes. I think
Yeah.
Apple's got a winner on their hands. I actually went to the Apple store to pick up my AirTags today. I had only pre-ordered one. And when I got there, they said, well, we've got 4 packs. If you want to upgrade, I'm like, I kind of do. They got me. And I thought like they just had piles of them. So there's enough supply to meet the demand, I think, in the store. So
watch for a big jump in that wearables, home, and accessories category.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're right. I think you're absolutely right. I do think they have a genuine hit on their hands with AirTags already.
Well, I mean, and just with how much performance and amazing stuff we've seen out of the M1 chip so far, and knowing that M2 or whatever they end up calling it is probably kind of just around the corner, at least in terms of tech. I feel like I'm interested to see what that Mac line is going to be in, maybe even a year or even later, next quarter or the quarter after. I'm interested to see, is M1, are people catching on to the M1 hype, and are they pulling customers from, potentially other laptops because of just how efficient and, powerful it seems to be.
Well, it's interesting. They said this week during the call that was it during the call or was it during the event last week? It blends together. But the M1 Max, I actually think it was during the event, but the M1 Max are currently their their top selling Macs across those lines. And honestly, that's not surprising on one hand, because those are the cheapest Macs. It's the Mac Mini for $699 and the low end MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air is the MacBook Air, as it always has been. But when it comes to the new iMac, Luke, I think look at the style, look at the thinness, the colors, the color matched accessories. I think those, for people who are looking for desktop machines, and especially businesses just looking for a nice computer to have out front on their desks, as people are, increasingly going into businesses now as they get vaccinated. Yeah, I think you're right. The M1 is gonna just prove to be a powerhouse financially, especially now that they don't have to pay Intel for those machines.
Yeah, totally. Right. So it's just like I feel like Apple is, it's not like they've ever, in recent years, it's not like they've ever been struggling at all. But like, I just feel like they've almost come to this, like they're in a really good position to just see like some insane growth, I think. And I think that's what we're starting to see now, and we'll see more of throughout the year for sure.
Like middle part of the decade, if someone said they're going to see just phenomenal growth in the Mac, I don't think anybody would have predicted that, but here we are.
But here we are.
I can't help picturing like the cool offices with just the rainbow of Macs across the office floor. Just
we should I should pick up like an iMore yellow iMac to match these walls.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
but I'm just waiting for the Instagram, for like there's going to be some hashtag on Instagram or something with like the rainbow of Macs office spaces out there.
Yeah, some office is going to set up like a little like round desk area that multiple people work at, and they're going to put all 7 colors in a circle, and they'll do a whole Instagram Reels thing on that.
Right. I just see that being a big trend.
Definitely. I really do like that blue. Actually, so moving off from financial results, did anybody order anything this morning? Because Karen, you were talking before the show. It's kind of a weird morning because AirTags are arriving today for a lot of people. This is the first wave of AirTag arrivals, but it's also an Apple order day for products that aren't going to be here for several weeks. Did anybody order anything today? A Siri remote, an iPad, an iMac?
No, I'm tempted though. I am tempted. I'm tempted by the iMac, by the new M1 iMac. I'm waffling a little bit just because I have probably smarter uses of my money right now. But I am tempted. I like all-in-ones. I really do. Like I love, like, don't get me wrong, I love having my MacBook Air to take with me and do things when I'm, when I go out and about. But like I love an all-in-one computer desktop. Like I always kind of have. And I just find it's so nice to not have to have like a place for the tower and a place for the screen and all your accessories and all that. It's nice to just have it all in one machine that's just in front of me. That's just this gorgeous screen. I've always liked all-in-ones, and so like, although I'm not a huge fan of any of the colors, maybe just because I'm a bit of a curmudgeon,
you can still get silver.
Yeah, I can still get silver, and I don't mind the blue. I would prefer it was all uniform. I think that's like my biggest problem with the colors is that they do have that sort of like two-tone.
Yeah, like
we're like the blue that I like is all on the back of the machine. So if I'm looking at the front of the machine, I don't even get to see the blue color that I'm really like taken by. But yeah, I've always loved all-in-ones, and so I'm very tempted. I'm very tempted, especially since like I don't have an M1 device yet. And I keep hearing good things about the M1 device, and all my colleagues that have M1 devices keep telling me how good they are. And so I kind of want to get one, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Nothing yet. I'm not making any promises.
Luke, you should set up your iMac in front of a mirror, so that way you can always see the back of your iMac. And yourself.
Yeah.
I wonder if they did have uniform colors all around, and it was that, say, the blue one. It was that uniform dark blue. I wonder if that would look more like, especially since there's no Apple logo in the front, more like a D brand wrap just out of the box.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if they would word it would look a little, I don't know, not Apple-y or something.
Yeah.
But in that case,
I would have preferred a single tone as well. I'm with you.
No,
Luke.
I
don't love the two-tone. In certain situations, I like a two-tone, but not. I think the iMac would have been better if it was all one color.
Yeah. I still don't quite understand the white bezels. I'll put that out there. That still also bothers me. I feel like as Dbrand is offering wraps already, and one of the wraps you can get is literally just a black thing to cover the bezels. And
not even the chin, just the bezels.
No, literally just the bezels. And I'm like, if I got an iMac, I might actually buy that. I probably would maybe buy that.
I mean, yeah, even Apple, on everything else, Apple has essentially moved just to black bezels, even on on the iPhone, for what little bezels there are on the new ones anymore. iPads, but no, on the iMac, we're going back to this. That's the thing. They're going back to white bezels.
Yeah, it's an odd choice.
Yeah, it is an odd choice. I mean, I understand sort of where they were talking about, like they really wanted to make, like, especially since like the iMac, these ones, the ones that, the 24-inch ones that are replacing essentially the 21-inch one, 21.5-inch ones, were like, they really are kind of a family computer. They're not your powerhouse iMac. They're not with the people who are looking for like the big 27-inch or like, an iMac Pro, successor. That's not what this is. This is very much like a family computer. Your kid does homework on it. You check your emails. You do, you write stuff on it. Like, it is very much like a home computer. And I feel like I get that they wanted to go for like this bright kind of cheerful sort of like aesthetic. And I understand why it fits into that. But like the white bezels, just like when you're watching content, they're going to stick out like a sore thumb. Like, I just don't really understand the rationale there of keeping the white bezels. I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
But Luke, in your kitchen, where you definitely keep a desktop computer, if Apple's to be believed,
yeah,
it just goes more with any sort of kitchen decor, or I don't know, your favorite knife, kitchen computer, by the sink too. They had in that ad Apple made, the kitchen computer was by the why it's a desktop. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
just put it in the sink at that point.
But even though I'm like not the biggest fan of some of the design choices, or at least the aesthetics of it, I still like am really interested in the product. And I'm still like, I still might get one. I still actually legitimately might get one.
I do love the uniform thinness.
Yes. The form factor is beautiful.
Oh yeah, it is. It's like a giant. It's almost like a giant iPad, except for that, that chin, that massive chin that it's got.
Yeah.
But that's where they keep the important bit. So
Yeah, and how thin it is still like insane to me. Like it was MKBHD that like kind of first pointed this out to me, but it's so thin that they couldn't put the headphone jack on the back of the device because like literally that's too thick.
They had to put it. They had to put it on
the side. Yeah,
which
I mean
is a better place.
It is a better placement. It is for sure a better placement. But like it's interesting that like they probably would have put it on the back to keep the same design language, I would assume, if they didn't go with this crazy thin design, which is awesome. It's so cool. Such an interesting little tidbit.
I have been imagining an iMac this thin for years, and I still can't believe that it actually exists, that it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen, did you order anything today?
No.
You don't have an Apple TV, do you?
No, I don't. I'm waiting for my Roku to die. Then I'll buy an Apple TV.
Is that happening soon, or where are we?
I don't know.
Is Roku in hospice?
I don't know. It's still going. And I also have an Amazon Fire Stick on my other TV. They're both going strong, and I could throw them away or give them away, but they work fine. So
I ordered the Siri remote this morning because it is time. I also ordered an iPad Pro.
Of course you did.
Yes,
it's the iPad Pro you've been waiting for.
It is. I ordered the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, so I got the new display. I'm getting all the screen real estate I could ever hope to get. Did I also order the white Magic Keyboard? You bet I did. So, and this is actually something I wanted to bring up, because I went ahead and ordered this anyway, even though the news came out like yesterday evening that your old Magic Keyboard, my old Magic Keyboard, will work with this new iPad Pro, but it's not going to close quite properly. It's not going to be a perfect fit. Well, just can't tolerate that.
Yeah.
But
it's very un-Apple-y.
Yeah, it's at a certain point. I last night I had resolved, no, I won't order the new keyboard because I don't technically need it. But then I said, but you do want the white keyboard, don't you? Yes, yes, I do. And so I did. There's a certain point where you have to say, like, okay, it's your money. You can spend it how you want. And I wanted to spend it on a keyboard that I don't necessarily need, but I do love. I'm very curious to see how the white keyboard holds up over time. Not in terms of the durability of the actual device itself, because the Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro, it is an expensive accessory, even if you're just getting the 11-inch version. It's $50 extra for the 12.9-inch version. But the hinges, actually both hinges, have just held up so well over the last year. I've been very impressed by its durability, and I was worried a lot, on the Smart Keyboard, you get a lot of rippling on that material after you owned it for a while. That has not happened at all on the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting one of those and you have the money, I definitely recommend it.
I'll be very curious how white the white is after a couple months.
Yeah, and it's weird because you look at Apple's product photos and it almost kind of already looks off-white, just slightly. It doesn't look like AirTag white.
Yeah.
It's.
But
I pulled up the AirTag, but I realize I'm in a yellow room full of warm lighting, and
But like the latest white iPhone is not white.
Yeah, it's silver. They call it silver. Do they not? Am I imagining that?
I thought they called it white, but it's definitely. I'm in a pretty neutrally lit room.
Yeah,
it's not a bright white.
Right.
Sorry, I'm very bad at holding things up to a camera.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I do have to say, Karen, I am, iPads aside, I am now in the mini phone club. That I love it. I love it. It's little. I can hold it all in one hand. I can reach all the way across the keyboard without trying, with one hand without having to invoke the stupid little slide keyboard. So there are times I want to type with two hands and times I want to type with one hand. And now I have a phone in my possession that I can do both whenever I want without having to take any other steps. And it's so light. And I've thought a lot about it. I just simply don't use the cameras on the iPhone. I am not a pro phone photographer. I have a standalone camera that I use to take pictures, really good ones, I ought to say. And I just don't use my iPhone that way. And, we've got these rumors of the ProMotion display coming to the Pro iPhones later this year. Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it. I think this year, for my actual personal phone, I will be picking up a 13 or 12S mini, whatever it's called, in the largest storage size you can get, because that's still cheaper than the lowest storage tier you can get on an iPhone Pro.
Yeah.
So are you not concerned about the battery life?
Not even a little. Okay. I don't go anywhere. Even
you might next year. You might in 2022. Or did you not go anywhere before, really?
I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit in a yellow robe.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing about the Mini that's made me cautious, because I'm kind of in the market for a new personal phone for sure, and the only thing about the Mini that has made me hesitant is the battery life. It's bad. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
And I feel like
I can't make it through a day, and I'm home. Even if I'm just home all day, I can't make it through a day.
I feel like if they can get that up, then I think like I'm in for sure. But
yeah, I mean, I am a heavy user, and I don't do things like my kids will put the brightness down to like the very lowest level, and I'm like, I can't even see their phones. They probably started doing it because they didn't want me looking over their shoulder at their texts, but they do it to save battery, and because they have older phones, they hang on to them for a lot longer than I do, and I don't do any of that. I like it nice and bright. I don't do any of the battery saving things. I just want to use my phone, though. I want to use my phone. And this is the first one I've had in years where I really can't make it through a day.
Yeah, and like that's a concern to me, because like I do tend to keep my devices around for like personal devices around for quite a while. Like I try to get the most use I can out of them. And so like if the battery is already low, if I'm looking 3 and 4 years, when the battery does start to deteriorate a little bit, it's just going to get worse. So that's the only thing about the Mini that I like. I'm all for the small form factor. I'm all for the the compactness, the lightness, like everything that the Mini brings, all the advantages. I'm super on board for it. It's just that battery life that can't make me pull the trigger quite yet.
Yeah.
This is why I think Apple should keep the Mini line around, because first of all, I think it serves plenty of people. I do. Even if it's just like 5% or 6% of total iPhone 12 family sales. I mean, we saw how much money Apple made this quarter. How much the iPhone did this quarter. How, like, that's still millions of people that are now being served by this smaller phone. So I think they should, Luke, you've talked about your want for Apple to do sort of experimental or weird phones. I think they should make the Mini their experimental phone, where they just stuff the latest battery tech in there, and then they can move that up to the larger phones. Because if they can do it in the small phone, they can do it better in the bigger phones. I just don't want to live in a world where 6.1 inches is the smallest iPhone you can get.
Yeah, it really is big for a lot of people, and it's
heavy.
Yeah, it's especially if you've ever held a Mini, if you've ever actually held the Mini. Like, not everyone's gonna like it. That's fine. Everyone has preferences, but like, it is just so nice. It's just so good in your hand.
Just comfortable and light.
I can do the old pinky shelf, and my pinky doesn't start to ache. Like, I can actually hold my phone this way. It's very comfortable. With the 11, when I had the 11 Pro, my pinky would start to ache. I know that it sounds like a really first world problem, doesn't it? Pinkies, but
it's for sure a real thing, though. It's for sure a real thing. We've all experienced the pinky ache.
I'm just a little disappointed that after all that pinky shelving with heavier phones, that it didn't get I don't have like a jacked pinky. Like it's just not, a muscle bound pinky that I could do push-ups with.
Yeah. So when you go out in public and your pinky's like all funky, like people say, "Oh, is that a sports injury?" You'd be like, "No, that's a pinky shelf injury."
pinky shelf.
Someone annoys you just tap them with their pinky and send them flying.
Yeah.
All right. We have come down to the end of our hour. Packed week, big week, lots of stuff to download and numbers to mull over and things to potentially buy that won't be arriving until the first week of June. Sad face. Yeah, that iPad Pro sold out quick. The first batch is sold out real quick. Yeah, it's been a packed week. Luke, thanks for being with us this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Yeah. I want to say thanks to all of our live listeners and commenters. It's always fun to have you folks in the comments, particularly lively this week. Thanks to our later listeners who will listen in their podcatcher of choice or watch the playback on YouTube. If you really just want the playback of our faces. Thanks, of course, to the always lovely Jim Metzendorf for making us sound so wonderful. And yeah, it's until next time, everybody, this has been the iMore Show. Bye.
Bye.